Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our masterclass this afternoon. Please introduce yourself in comments. I would absolutely love to know, because I know we've got lots of people here from lots of different industries, who you are and what business you are in. Are you using LinkedIn at the moment, and how successful is your strategy? And what burning questions you're hoping to get answered today, either in the masterclass or in the Q&A. Feel free to use the chat as much as possible, and just answer those questions for me just whilst we are waiting for everyone to join us. That would be amazing. Anything that isn't covered in the main masterclass today, we do have a Q&A right at the end. So if you've got, obviously we have to tailor this masterclass to everyone. But if you have a specific question that's related to your specific industry or your specific strategy, please do feel free to let us know in the Q&A at the end. So for now, if you can introduce yourself in the comments for me in the chat, if you can let me know who you are and what business you are in. Are you using LinkedIn at the moment? And if you are, how successful your strategy is, and what burning questions you're hoping to get answered today, either in the masterclass or in the Q&A. And if I have questions in the chat that were not answered in the masterclass, I will absolutely answer them at the end for you. So Oliver, welcome along. You're a life coach and you're looking to see how you can use LinkedIn to grow your audience, ultimately leading to clients. Well, we're definitely covering that today. Billy, you've just self-published your first book. Congratulations, that's amazing. Baz, you are in recruitment. Amazing. You probably know that's where I started off as well. Kerry, you've spelt your name wrong. Kerry, you're a sales strategist and a coach, and you're here today supporting one of your clients who's in telecoms. Kathy, you're in recruitment as well. You use LinkedIn every day and you love it, but you want to increase engagement with others on your content. We're going to talk about how you can do that later on, but if you've got any specific questions at the end, please feel free to pop them in the chat as we go along. Joe, you're a sales coach and a mentor. You've been using LinkedIn for years and it's working for you, but you're open to learning more. We can always learn more, can't we? We can always kind of look to change, make slight changes to our strategy as well. Billy, you haven't been on LinkedIn for years, so you're looking to dust off your profile. Amazing. Lots of people may be here because they have used LinkedIn in a previous corporate role and they're looking to kind of use it in a different way now to grow their business, which is awesome. Katie, you're a brand strategist and designer. You specialize in brand identities for female entrepreneurs and female founders. LinkedIn will be absolutely amazing for you. You have a presence on there, but you're there and don't go on it. Amazing. Well, this is a huge opportunity for you. Kirsty, welcome. You're from a recruitment company in South Africa. You're looking to grow your audience and help others find employment. Amazing. Chloe, founder and director of Hayes Environmental. I know we're connected on LinkedIn already because I recognize your name. You use LinkedIn and it's the main way you get business. Amazing. Shelley, hi Shelley. You're in network marketing with health and wellness company, and I know that you are on LinkedIn, but I know you're looking to improve your strategy as well. Dayan, I hope I said that correctly. You're from Independent Communications Advisors, which is local to me. Welcome along. You're using LinkedIn to drive traffic and engagement on content, but you post on your company post. Well, we're going to talk about the difference between company posts and personal posts later, so that should be helpful for you. Beth, lovely Beth, was one of my clients when I was in recruitment. You're working within the lighting industry and you're using LinkedIn, but it's not using in your organization. And I know that's something you're keen to implement. Jacqueline, hello, recruitment, and you need to build your presence on LinkedIn and be consistent. Consistency is absolutely key. We'll talk about that later as well. Maria, you're a leadership coach and HR consultant, and you want to ensure you maximize LinkedIn and learn more about how to do that. LinkedIn will be amazing for your specialism. Absolutely amazing. Zachary, operations manager for Busy Bee Recruitment. Love that name. Here for lots of LinkedIn best tips for candidates and client growth. Amazing. Giada, welcome along. I know Giada has just started work for one of my clients, Cherry, so I hope it's going well. You're sales and partnership manager at Above and Beyond Recruitment Agency. You're learning about climate tech and looking to use LinkedIn to build your network. Amazing. Claire, I trained Claire on LinkedIn years ago. Lots of success, but you've changed sector now and need an update. It's always good to have an update as well, isn't it? Because obviously things change. Amazing. Well, welcome along, everyone. We have lots of different people here from lots of different industries, but I hope that each and every one of you are going to go away with some value. As I said, we have to tailor this presentation to all of you to make sure that everyone goes away with value. But if you have specific questions for your specific niche or your specific strategy at the moment, feel free to pop them in the chat as we go along. If it's appropriate to answer them during the presentation, I absolutely will. And if not, I will absolutely answer them for you at the end. So let's move on. Okay, so if you can, I can ask you to stay muted for me because there are quite a few of us on here. We will unmute to do some Q&A at the end. Keep your camera turned on if you can. It's always nice to see you. Feel free to make notes as we go along, but you will receive a replay. So we'll send out a replay later on this afternoon when the masterclass has downloaded as well. We'll be together for around 60 minutes, including the Q&A at the end. Depending on how many questions we have, sometimes that can be slightly longer. But as I said, if you do need to shoot off at 1 o'clock, do not worry, because we will send you the replay as well. So just a little introduction to me, if you are new to my world. I know a lot of you I'm already connected with on LinkedIn or Facebook, but I'm a LinkedIn and visibility coach. I'm also qualified in positive psychology and something called subconscious marketing as well. I have used LinkedIn as the main lead generation source for 3 businesses of my own, a recruitment agency, my coaching business, and my LinkedIn management agency as well. And I have also taught literally thousands of business owners now in hundreds of different sectors and niches how to maximize LinkedIn to grow their business. So I know my stuff. I'm constantly learning as well. As you know, LinkedIn is constantly changing. And that is why sometimes when something used to work for you and maybe isn't anymore, it's always good to come along to these sessions and really just get an update, even if you are already on LinkedIn and have a strategy that works. Outside of work, I am mum to Izzy, who is 9 going on 19. That's her in the middle there. She has been poorly for the last week and is finally back at school. So I look a little bit rough because I've not slept for a whole week. Wife to Paul for 13 years for his sins. And fun fact for you all, I'm an identical twin. It is mine and my identical twin's 40th birthday next week. So you may see some pictures going around that we'll put out next week of us both next to each other. She is fully grey haired, which I should be if I was au naturel. So that'll probably give you a little bit of a giggle as well. Okay, so today's agenda. We're going to look at why you should be utilising LinkedIn to grow your business in 2024. And that's specifically relevant for maybe those of you who aren't utilising it as much as you could be right now. We're going to look at busting some LinkedIn myths that are perhaps putting you off from not utilising it as much as you should be. We're going to look at why you should be spending your time on LinkedIn. And top tips for building a successful LinkedIn strategy. So a lot of today will be about what the main things are they should be doing on LinkedIn and the little tweaks that you can make to make your strategy super, super successful. We're also going to look at content ideas and tips for getting your content seen by as many of your prospects as possible. And as I said before, we're going to do an open Q&A at the end where you can literally ask me anything about LinkedIn as well. Okay, so busting some myths. So the main myth that a lot of people have when they are new to LinkedIn, or maybe they have used LinkedIn in a previous role or when they're in corporate, maybe before they started a business, is that LinkedIn is stuffy and corporate. Now, LinkedIn is slightly more business-like than I would say Instagram or Facebook, although I see that as a good thing. However, it is no longer stuffy and corporate. 10 years ago, it probably was, although I was still building a personal brand on there and I was still using it to gain leads for my business, but it used to be a little bit more stuffy than it is now. LinkedIn, about 7 years ago, got really, really keen on the idea that it could be used by business people and salespeople to generate business opportunities. So the platform changed dramatically. They have specific products for business owners. They're encouraging you to build relationships and sell. The concept of personal branding is absolutely rife on LinkedIn because people buy from people and not profiles. So it used to be stuffy in corporate, but it's not anymore. What you will tend to find now is people share a lot more personal content. People want to get to know the person behind the profile, as I said. So if you are not on LinkedIn at the moment, because maybe in the past it was a little bit boring, it was a little bit stuffy, you didn't know whether stuff was appropriate to post, absolutely get on there and you'll see that your feed has dramatically changed. Another big myth that I hear is that LinkedIn is difficult to use. Now, that often comes from people that are using Facebook and Instagram for business purely because they use them for personal purposes before they start their business. So it seemed like the easy option, but the easy option is not always the best option. And what I will say is once you know how, LinkedIn is absolutely very, very easy to utilize. And once you have your strategy set up, it doesn't take you that long at all every day if you are consistent. So if you are thinking that LinkedIn is difficult to use at the moment, it's just because you don't know how yet, but you will pick it up very, very quickly. Another big myth that I absolutely love to bust is that your audience is not on LinkedIn. There are over 950 million people on LinkedIn, and I am very hard pressed when asked that question to not be able to find your audience on LinkedIn. So if you're not sure if your audience is on there, absolutely ask the question, and I will be happy to tell you in most cases that they are. The only people that LinkedIn does not work for when the strategy is used correctly, in my opinion, are people whose audience genuinely isn't on there. And if your audience genuinely isn't on there, I will absolutely let you know. But what I would say is the majority of people's audiences are on there. So every kind of industry that we have seen people introduce themselves in comments in terms of marketing, branding, coaching, recruitment, etc., I can tell you that your audience is likely to be on LinkedIn, and it's just waiting for you to come into their world and to wow them. The other big myth, especially for people who are using other platforms, you haven't got time for another platform. Now, I would say, do you want to grow your business? Have you got time for more business and more money? Then you need to make time for another platform. Now, that may be that you have got to your 5,000 Facebook friends or whatever it may be, and you actually want to grow, but you don't want to pay for ads and you want another organic strategy. Get on LinkedIn absolutely will allow you to grow your audience. It might very well be that you are looking to start a different revenue stream and your ideal client is slightly different to where you're actually utilizing social media at the moment. Again, great reason to get on LinkedIn. So if you haven't got time for another platform, my question would be, have you got time for more business? Do you want to grow your business? If it is important enough, you absolutely make time. As with everything, the harder work is up front in terms of setting up your profile, setting up your strategy, building your audience, but it will absolutely pay dividends in the end. And once your strategy is set up, it doesn't actually take very long every day at all to have a really, really successful LinkedIn strategy. Okay, so I could talk about LinkedIn all day, and anyone that has been on these things with me before knows that that is absolutely the case. So I have tried to distill why you should be utilizing LinkedIn in 2024 in 4 slides. However, there are lots more reasons. So we'll run through this quite quickly. If anyone wants any more information on any of these particular things, please do ask in the Q&A. So one of the most amazing things about LinkedIn is your profile page. Your personal profile page, when set up properly, acts as a mini converting website. I have been in business for 13 years. I do not have a website. I have an e-commerce site where you can go and buy my stuff, but I do all of my conversion on LinkedIn because my profile page does it for me. So I bring the right people into my world, I engage with them, I magnetize them, they go to my profile, and my profile does the job in terms of converting them, and that lead either dropping into my inbox or someone signing up for something that I'm doing. So your profile page is that important, and it's that amazing. It absolutely sells what you do without people having to leave the platform. And that's really, really important, because if we need someone to leave the platform to go and find out more about us, they're not as likely to do it. They're going to get busy. They're going to go and do other things. It's not necessarily going to be a priority. If we have someone's attention and we can keep that attention and we can take them through our sales process on your profile page, that's a super, super powerful thing, and you will get more leads converting. Other amazing thing about LinkedIn, you can track and know who your warm leads are with LinkedIn Premium. How amazing is that? So you know every single person that has come to your profile page. And I would say that everyone who has looked at your LinkedIn profile page is a potential lead. They have been interested enough in you to go to your profile page. And LinkedIn tells you who they are with LinkedIn Premium, which starts at about just £30 a month. So is it worth £30 a month for you to know who is looking at you so that you can start conversations with them? Hell yes, absolutely. Another amazing thing about LinkedIn is the really amazing free search tool that you can use to build a very, very specific audience that's even better on Sales Nav. So LinkedIn will help you to target your very, very specific audience. One of my clients is looking to just target psychotherapists, for instance. One of them wants to target people who have worked specifically for the company Google. Another one is looking to target people who just work in the NHS. LinkedIn can give you that level of data. I want you to start thinking of LinkedIn as a massive, massive database of every single person who has ever signed up to it. So once you start thinking of it like that, it completely opens up your world in terms of business development, because everyone is on there and you can access their information through the searches. So very, very amazing search tool that can allow you to build a very, very specific audience, which can really, really accelerate your results rather than waiting for people to come to you. The very big difference between LinkedIn and other platforms is you bring specific people into your world. You don't have to wait for them to come for you, which is really, really important. You control who you bring into your world and accept into your world. So you either send a connection request or you accept one. So if you are on Facebook or Instagram at the moment and you have lots of random followers and bots, etc., you can say goodbye to that, which means that when you have specific messaging to your very, very specific audience, it lands a lot more, it resonates a lot more, and it gets you a lot more results. On LinkedIn, you can have 30,000 first connections, leading to millions of second connections. So for those of you who aren't active on LinkedIn right now, the way that LinkedIn works is that you can have 30,000 first connections. So think of them, say, as like Facebook friends. However, every time you become first connected to a new person, you become second connected to all of their connections. So if you became first connected to me today, you'll become second connected to my audience of 29,000 people, which means that they'll come up in your searches. So I am connected to 29,000 people, and last time I looked, that connected me to millions and millions of potential other people. So it's a huge, huge opener to potential new relationships. When one of my first connections likes my post, it appears in their feed, which means that their connections can see it. So you can actually gain business on LinkedIn, not just from your first connected network, but also from the people that your first connected network are connected to, which is absolute gold. Everyone on LinkedIn is there to do business. There's no need to pretend otherwise. If you are on LinkedIn, you are active on LinkedIn, then you are there for a reason. So I don't know about you, but I went on to Facebook to start doing some business development at the end of last year. And lots of people pretend to be my friend and then try and pitch to me. On LinkedIn, you're there to do business. Everyone knows why you're there in the first place. Yes, you still need to pitch in a certain way. You still need to build relationships, and you still need to make sure that people are the right people for what you have to sell. Absolutely. But people know why you're there. There's no pretense. Amazing thing about LinkedIn, one of my absolute favorite things, is the data. You know how well you're doing on LinkedIn all the time. You know how your strategy is doing. You know how your content is landing because LinkedIn tells you. So you get analytics for every single post. You see how many people have viewed your profile. Absolutely amazing data. So if you are a data person, and I'm a real data person because I think it really helps you to know whether your strategy is working or not, that will absolutely flow your boat. When it comes to content, one of my big kind of drawbacks to, say, your Facebooks and your Instagram are the types of content you have to create. The fact that you have to put a picture with them all the time. I am not amazing on Canva. Kind of the bells and whistles content and the reels and all those sorts of things. You don't need on LinkedIn. LinkedIn loves a good old text post. It loves a poll. It loves kind of value add type content. So if you are struggling to keep up with those types of content, or you do not enjoy putting them together on other platforms, you can absolutely just build relationships in LinkedIn with a good old text post. One of my favorite things about LinkedIn is that it is a business hours platform. Yes, people are on there out of hours, but you can absolutely have a very successful LinkedIn strategy in working hours. So you are not losing your life down a social media black hole in the evening. And it can really be good for people that have other things going on in their life and really want to regain that work-life balance as well. LinkedIn has a huge organic reach. It has been proven to have the biggest organic reach of any other platform for business, which means that you get more eyes on every post than you do on other platforms. But also you can see how many eyes, which makes it even better. If you haven't used the events function on LinkedIn yet, you absolutely need to be using it. You can advertise your event, your masterclass, your drop-in, whatever it is that you're doing on the LinkedIn events section. And you can invite over 500 of your first connections to your events online and offline really, really easily. They get a notification with the information. They let you, some of you will probably be here because I did that on LinkedIn and that's how you knew about this event. And what you may not know is when you actually click that you are going to a LinkedIn event, LinkedIn adds a little button on your profile, which means that everyone that goes to your profile can then click through and see that event. So if you send out 500 invites to your event, that then goes on 500 people's profile. If they click, they're going, and then everyone that views their profile then sees that they're going to the event and can click through as well. So by sending out 500 invites to your event, you can literally get your event in front of thousands and thousands of people absolutely for free. Now, 36% of LinkedIn's 250 million plus users are not active on any other social platform. They have chosen just to use LinkedIn. Therefore, I want you to think about the impact of 36% of your potential target market not being on any other platform than LinkedIn. So if you are not spending time on LinkedIn at the moment, or you do not have a successful strategy on LinkedIn, that is a huge, huge opportunity for you and your business. LinkedIn is loved by Google. So if you Google your name and you are active on LinkedIn, your LinkedIn profile will come at the top of our Google search. And that's really, really amazing for credibility, because wherever you meet your prospects, whether it's online or offline, if they were to Google your name, your LinkedIn profile comes at the top of that Google search, and your LinkedIn profile is all singing and all dancing, and it's absolutely ready to convert your prospects. Not only does it give you that credibility stamp, but it also can help you convert your potential clients as well. There is also the argument of not putting all of your eggs in the meter basket. I know this is a big, huge kind of conversation that's going on Facebook and Instagram at the moment. But a lot of the people kind of who are new to my world are only advertising on those platforms. And what is happening is that they are making themselves vulnerable, because if their accounts are shut down, if they're hacked, I got hacked, my Facebook account got hacked in October, it was a nightmare. And you are purely using one platform to grow your business, then obviously that makes you vulnerable. If you are new to LinkedIn, you may not know that you have the LinkedIn Live and LinkedIn Audio functions available to you. You can either apply for those, or you can get them if your profile is in content creator mode. 2 reasons why I would look to use LinkedIn Live or LinkedIn Audio as part of your strategy is the notifications. So when you go live on LinkedIn, or when you go live with an audio event, LinkedIn sends a notification to your network. Therefore, your network gets a notification that you're live, so you get more people coming to your LinkedIn Live and audio events. But also, when you have finished that live, that notification stays, but it changes to so-and-so was live. So even if someone comes to LinkedIn hours and hours later, they still can see that you are live, and they can click through and they can watch the replay of your thing. And that is why you may have noticed that quite a lot of people are doing live recordings for podcasts on LinkedIn Live or LinkedIn Audio, because it brings a lot more people to the party, and it can really, really get a lot more eyes and ears on your content as well. So those are a couple of things that I would say. If you aren't using it at the moment and you really want to grow your strategy, then they're huge opportunities for you. Okay, LinkedIn allows you to download your data. A lot of people don't know this, but if you go into your settings, you can actually request that you can download your data, and that protects you should you ever lose access to your account. So I would absolutely recommend that people do this every couple of months. I do it for all of my LinkedIn management clients. The level of data that you can get in there will depend upon the privacy settings that the people who you are connected with have, but at the very least it will be the name, the company name, the industry. A lot of the time it will also be the email address, telephone number, website, etc. So if you were to lose access to your account, if you were hacked, if you broke the LinkedIn rules and got thrown off, you would still have your data downloaded, which means that you could start again, or you could find those people in other ways as well, which for me is just a great way of protecting yourself and protecting your business. Now, earlier on, I said that business products like SalesNav LinkedIn have come out with, because they are designed to help you to grow your business using the platform. LinkedIn is actively trying to help you to build a personal brand and bring more prospects to your business on the platform, that they're there to help you. They're coming up with products that can help you as well, which should just be an indication of the fact that LinkedIn knows that their platform is good for business, hence why they've come up with those products in the first place. Another thing that is relatively recent, that just came out in the summer in 2023, is an opportunity to become a LinkedIn top community voice. Now, you may have heard of the Top Voice program with LinkedIn before. Top voices are chosen by LinkedIn head office themselves, and they're very, very few and far between. They tend to be kind of real influencers. What LinkedIn did last year was they added a next level of the LinkedIn Top Voice program, and it's called the LinkedIn Top Community Voice, and it allows people like you and me, regular people with regular audiences, to really elevate yourself in the LinkedIn marketplace. If anyone wants to know how to become a top community voice, I am one. I know how I did it. I know the exact strategy to make it happen, and I'm helping my clients to do that at the moment. And you could just imagine the impact of coming to your profile and seeing that you have that top voice badge. It really, really adds to your credibility. So if you are active on LinkedIn at the moment, you do not have a top voice badge in your industry, I would absolutely recommend making that part of your strategy for 2024. It is not a complicated thing to do. It's just relatively new, so not a lot of people know how to do it yet. Okay, so what you should be using LinkedIn for. Now, there's quite a few different things you can use LinkedIn for that will help you to grow your business. First of all, obviously, business development to directly attract your new clients, i.e. bringing new people into your world and selling to them. Another amazing thing that LinkedIn can do, as we said in terms of the Google search type stuff, is brand building and credibility. I have some of my LinkedIn management clients that aren't actually looking to gain sales. They're looking to build their brand and gain credibility in their industries. So for instance, one of them is a company that works with charities. They're not looking to work with any more charities at the moment, but actually they're looking to really build their brand so that the charities that they work with can see how active they are, and kind of continue working with them. So don't just look at LinkedIn as an opportunity to bring you sales, which it will. Really have a think about how it can build your brand and your credibility in your marketplace as well. Now, LinkedIn at its core is an online networking platform. So you can use LinkedIn to build a referral network of people who can refer business to you. So once your audience really gets to know you, even if they do not need or want to buy what you have to sell, they will have other people in their network that do. So one of the things that LinkedIn is brilliant for, and you'll know this if you're already active on LinkedIn, is other people sending you referrals, tagging you into posts, recommending you for things. And 9 times out of 10, these people are not people that have actually experienced your services themselves, but they've been in your world long enough to know that you are good at what you do. So LinkedIn is absolutely brilliant for referrals as well. So if I was you and I was starting my LinkedIn network from today, I would be looking at a multi-pronged strategy of bringing directly in customers, but also building a referral network of people who have a similar target market, but a non-competing service, so that you can work together to build that referral network as well. Another amazing thing you can do on LinkedIn is to build your employer brand and attract candidates to your jobs. Because what happens if someone has an interview at your workplace? They Google you. And if they Google you and they want to check you out and you have an amazing employer brand on LinkedIn, they can have a look at your business page. They can have a look at the personal profiles of the key stakeholders in your business. They can have a look at the jobs that you're advertising. Then LinkedIn can absolutely bring more job applications to you as well. You can actually advertise your jobs on LinkedIn, but you don't necessarily have to advertise your jobs on LinkedIn to use LinkedIn to build an amazing employer brand. So what should you be using LinkedIn for? In my opinion, probably all of the above, including the employer brand, if you have a big enough business that you are looking to bring in new people into your workplace as well. Okay, so let's get to the juicy stuff. Our tips for building your personal brand on LinkedIn. Now, your profile is absolutely key. If you are new to LinkedIn, your profile should be where you start. If you have been using LinkedIn for a while and you have a semi-successful strategy, but you want to convert more clients or more candidates or more employees, go back to your profile and make sure that it is all singing and all dancing. It should take your prospect on a customer journey from absolutely cold to absolutely boiling hot and wanting to work for you. Now, as I said before, I see my LinkedIn profile as my personal website, and I would absolutely encourage you to do the same. Any strategy on LinkedIn should drive as many of your ideal people to your profile as possible. And then you need to let your profile do the rest. So a couple of tips here. Again, I could talk about your profile all day as well, but a couple of tips for turning your profile into a lead generating sales page for you. A strong headline. So for those of you who don't know, your headline is the line of text that comes underneath your name on your LinkedIn profile. Now, LinkedIn automatically populates that with your job title. But that brings up a few problems. So if you're in an industry like recruitment, I know we've got quite a few recruiters in the room today, and you have recruitment consultant as your headline, and either your prospect is not looking to move jobs at the moment, or is not looking to hire, or has had any sort of bad experience with a recruiter in the past, just the fact that your headline says recruitment consultant will mean that your connection request isn't necessarily accepted. So I want you to think of your headline as the thing that is going to get your connection request accepted. So you want to pay particular attention to the first 5 or 6 words, because those are the first 5 or 6 words that your person sees when you send them a connection request. They see your name and the first 5 or 6 words. So the first 5 or 6 words of my headline are emerge as the obvious choice in your industry, because I know that that is the outcome that my clients are looking for. So you want to either start your headline with the outcome that you can get your clients. Alternatively, you want to talk about who you work with, rather than putting your job title. And again, that's really, really important. And you want to make sure there is nothing in your headline that could potentially put people off. And this is really important, because when we bring new people into our world, they're not always in a place where they're ready to buy from us. However, we give ourselves the opportunity to build know, like, and trust with them, to get them to a point where actually they need what we have to offer and they decide to work with us. So anything that potentially puts people off from coming into your network is going to stop you from being able to build that relationship with them. So make sure that there's nothing in your headline that could potentially put them off. The other place that your headline appears is when you comment on other people's posts. And actually, just commenting on other people's posts with something intelligent can get people clicking on your profile. And again, your headline's really important there, because they can see your comment, your name, and your headline. And if your headline is strong enough, if it is compelling enough, it can bring people back to your profile as well, just from commenting on other people's stuff. Now, you need a strong about us section as well. Now, your about us section should be about the outcome that you can create for your clients and not necessarily about you. So again, LinkedIn will automatically suggest that you populate your about us section with a little bit of a mini CV. And I want you to start thinking about your profile as being all about the people that you're looking to attract rather than about you. So your about us section should be written directly as if you are speaking to your prospect. So you want to be speaking to where your prospect is right now, what problems they have, what outcomes they're looking for, and then you want to tell them how you can help them. And that's really important. So just think of writing your about us section just as you would if you're writing a website. You want to take these people on a journey. So I would start with some questions that qualify your ideal audience, and then I would speak to their problems, followed by how you can uniquely solve them. And it's really, really important on your profile page that you really stand out as unique. You tell them how you are unique in the market, what you do that your competitors don't, your unique story. What is it that is unique about you that it means that you are the obvious choice for them to work with? And make it really, really compelling. And you want to have a strong call to action as well. You don't want them to come to your profile, think you're amazing, and then pop straight off. You actually want to tell them what to do. And in most cases, that would be to send you a message and have a chat or whatever it might be. Or you might have somewhere you want them to book a call, or somewhere you want them to go and kind of download something free. A strong call to action is really important. If we tell people what we want them to do, they're more likely to do it. It's that simple. The other section that you want to make sure that you make as much out of as possible is your featured content section. Now, if you haven't featured any content yet, you won't see one of these on your profile, so don't panic. But what you can do on LinkedIn is you can feature content on the front of your profile. And this is amazing for building credibility. So if you can get someone to your profile, if you can talk to them through your about us section in a compelling way, and then they then see your featured section, which is filled with things that show that you are very, very credible and good at what you do and allows people to get to know you, then you are taking them along that customer journey. So the things that I would suggest a video or a post that introduces yourself, your business, your own story, and how you can uniquely help them with a picture. videos are brilliant because they allow people to see your face, hear your voice, and feel as if they've gotten to know you on a deeper level. But if you are not ready to do video yet, you can do that in a text post with a nice picture of yourself. There's an example on my profile if you want to go and have a look. And then I would think about the other things that are going to make you credible. So you might want to talk about your USPs. You might want to have a testimonial in there. If you have something free to give away that's going to show your credibility, get that on there. If you have got any awards, written any books, got a podcast, anything that shows that you are good at what you do, get them on there. And I want you to think of your featured section as when they go to your first feature post, they do not know you at all. And when they get to your last feature post, they know you, they know your business story, they know what your business does and what it can do for them and how you're uniquely placed to help them. They can see that you're getting the outcome for other people and you have demonstrated your credibility as well. So all of those things should be going into your featured section. What a lot of people tend to do is they feature the posts that have done the best. So if you've got a lot of likes and comments on a post, you might have then featured that post. But actually, if it's not part of a strategy, it's not going to make much difference at all. So you want to make sure that you have a clear-cut strategy behind your feature section as well. So if you go and have a look at mine, I change mine all the time depending upon what I am selling. But I'm just going to give you an idea. Just give me a second to get mine up. You can go and have a look if you are on a PC. So if you need to go to my featured section right now, the first post is a post introducing myself and what I do. The second post is an event link to this masterclass. The third post is a link to my LinkedIn brand starter package. Fourth post is a post that I wrote about becoming a LinkedIn top community voice. And the post after that is a top 10 LinkedIn expert list that I came up in, etc. So it's all about building that credibility and allowing people to get to know you as well. The other thing I would really suggest is that you really look at your recommendation section. I have been on people's profiles, they sound amazing, but they've not got one recommendation or testimonial. And your recommendation and testimonial section can really, really help you to bring trust. So I usually like to use the TripAdvisor example. So if you're just putting a LinkedIn profile together, absolutely this is key. If you already have a LinkedIn presence and you have not got lots of recent recommendations or testimonials, absolutely make it a priority. So the TripAdvisor example would be, if you were booking a holiday and you were choosing between two hotels, both hotels looked amazing, both were 5-star luxury, and you couldn't choose between them, what most of us would do these days is we would go to TripAdvisor and we would look at the reviews. Now, say one of these hotels has not one review, or very few reviews, even if they're good, and the other hotel has hundreds of reviews that say that their hotel is amazing. 9 times out of 10, we're going to choose the hotel with the most reviews because it is less of a risk. Because when it comes to spending money, we don't want to be wasting that money. We don't want to run the risk. Therefore, if you have lots and lots of good recommendations, testimonials on your profile, which LinkedIn allows you to do, then people are more likely to buy from you. It is that simple. The other amazing thing about LinkedIn recommendation section is that people can click through. So people can click through to the person's profile that gave you the testimonial. They can see they're a real person. And if you are really clever with who you are targeting, they can see that you are helping people like them solve problems like theirs. And it is that big credibility tick in the box, and they're much more likely to buy from you. Okay, so the second really important thing about LinkedIn is building your audience. So we talked earlier about the fact that you can build a very, very specific audience on LinkedIn. And that is why you can be quite successful on LinkedIn quite quickly if you use the right strategy, because even with a small specific audience with the right messaging, you can absolutely be successful quite quickly. So some people they make 2 big mistakes when it comes to audience building. Number 1, they wait for people to come to them. And that's not what LinkedIn's about. It's about building your own audience and it's about taking control. So if you're on other platforms and you put out content and you wait for people to come to you and you've got kind of tumbleweed, great thing about LinkedIn is you can build your audience and you can take control of it. As I said, you can control who you invite into your world and who you accept into your world. So audience building is really important. The other main mistake people make is that they bring the wrong people into their world. And they just want as many connections as possible, but actually they're not the right people. So you want to make sure that you are consistently building an audience of the right people. You want to be sending out connections every single day, to very, very specific people. So the key here is getting really, really clear on who your ideal person is. Once you're really, really clear on it, you can then put together a proposition that really speaks to them. You can build your audience with those right people, and then obviously you can build that know, like, and trust with them. So it's not just about pitching up with your profile and putting content out. It's about being really strategic about who you want to get in your audience and why, and what you can actually do for them as well. So on LinkedIn, you do have a cap on how many people you can bring into your audience every week. Which is a good thing, because it means that you won't have people spamming you. But it does mean that if you are not using your invitations every week, then you do lose them. So if you are not consistently building your audience every week on LinkedIn, I would absolutely urge you to. Now, the general rule of thumb is that most people get about 100 invitations every week. It can be slightly different dependent upon the size of your network, dependent upon your connection to acceptance rate, and dependent upon how many outstanding invitations you have. But general rule of thumb is 100. If you could bring 100 absolutely ideal specific prospects into your world every single week consistently, and then you're putting the right messaging out, they're going to your profile and being converted, you could see huge growth in your business in 2024, even with 100 new people into your world every single week, because we are looking at only the right people. And really, really importantly, especially for those of us that are in recruitment, the more first connections you have, the more you can message without using an email. So for anyone that is new to LinkedIn, you can message all of your first connections for free. You can also have something called in-mails, and you get in-mails with a paid product on LinkedIn, and you can use in-mails to send a message to someone who is not in your network. Now, LinkedIn changed the inbox last year, so you now have your normal inbox and your other inbox, just like Outlook. And it was to protect people from spam and those salesy messages where people will just send you a salesy message that isn't appropriate for you, and we all hate them. Now, what happens is the first time you mark an in-mail as going in your other box, i.e. spam, LinkedIn then starts putting other emails in your spam box automatically. So if you are a recruiter, for instance, and you're paying for a recruiter license and you are paying for in-mails, you may have noticed that towards the end of last year, your in-mail acceptance rate went right down. And that's why, because people aren't necessarily reading them, they're going in the other inbox. So another major reason for building your audience consistently is not having to use an email to get in touch with them. Because if you are sending a message to a first connected person, you get directly into their normal inbox, and you're much more likely to get your message read and to get a response. Okay, so engagement. The thing to remember about LinkedIn is that LinkedIn is a platform for building relationships. It's not just about selling. You want to have a two-way conversation. So don't just connect with people and expect new clients and candidates to flock to you. You actually have to do some work. So you have to make an effort to engage in your feed and build relationships. Show people that you care, treat them like a real person. One of the great things about kind of human nature is we all like to be liked. So when we put out a post and someone likes it or comments on it, I don't know about you guys, I'm sure this will probably be the case, but you automatically will go and you will go and look at that person's profile. So if you're liking and commenting on people's stuff in your feed, and this stuff in your feed should be from your ideal prospects because you've built your audience properly, then you are using kind of that engagement tool to build relationships, to get to know people, but also to be sending more people to your profile as well. The other thing I would mention is that LinkedIn is extremely intuitive, and what you put in, it will spit out. So it learns what you want to see more of. So if you are engaging with the prospects that you have in your feed rather than your mates or your colleagues, for instance, it will start showing you more of that. So if at the moment your feed is filled with inappropriate people, and by inappropriate people, I mean not prospects, clients, candidates, potential employees, but random people or your mates or someone you used to work with years ago, probably your colleagues in the office, just sit on your hands for a week or two and stop engaging with those people's content. And it's not to be mean, it's just to be strategic, and only engage with the types of profiles that are the people that you want to build relationships with. And because LinkedIn is so intuitive, it will get on board and you will notice that your feed will dramatically change over the next week or so, and it will only show you the right type of people. And that saves you loads of time, because if you're only seeing the right sort of content in your feed, then you can do your engagement much faster and you'll get faster results as well. And the rule of thumb for LinkedIn is, with everything that you do on LinkedIn, you want to treat people in the exact same way as you would offline. So if you wouldn't say something to someone face to face, do not say it to them on LinkedIn. Simple. So how you can engage, very, very simply, by spending 10 or 15 minutes a day, by liking and commenting on other people's posts, and by sending warm but not spammy or salesy DMs. Everyone hates a spammy pammy. You do not want to be marked as someone that sends rubbish or sends just sales messages, because you'll go in the other inbox and no one's going to see what you've got to say. So DMs do work on LinkedIn, but only if you treat people like real people, you have real conversations, you build real relationships, and you are doing it from that place. So tips for sending warm DMs: do the unexpected, don't be spammy. Specifically for the recruiters, because I've had 4 from recruiters this morning that are not appropriate for me. But just really think about, if I wouldn't say this to someone's face, if I wouldn't throw up my pitch all over them in person, do not do it on LinkedIn DMs. So you can have really, really successful warm messaging conversations on LinkedIn, and it's a really, really successful strategy, but you want to do it from the right place. So you can send someone a message, for instance, thanking them for connecting, and then asking them how their week has been, or telling them you liked a specific piece of content, or asking a question about something that they've posted or a job that they're in. You can send someone a message to thank them for liking or commenting on your post or participating in your poll. You can send someone a message for thank you for viewing my profile. You know, what was it that was of interest to you? And a really, really good one, you can send someone a message to say thank you for answering your poll. And dependent upon the answer that they gave, you can then follow that up with a specific question. But speak to people in the DMs how you would in real life. Ask open questions. End the conversation if they don't reply, because everyone hates it when you send a message saying you have not replied to my last message. I had one this morning where I actually had a message that was about the 10th message. And it wasn't, I'm not the right prospect for this person. I've told them that. And they've still sent me a message saying, I'm just going to try one more time. There's nothing more annoying than that. So make sure that you end the conversation if they don't reply, because another opportunity will come up in the future. Now, LinkedIn DMs have a really great memory, and they can come back to bite you in the butt. So if you've been a spammy pammy, and then you then have another interaction with that person and they go to message you in the DMs, they can see the history of messages. And if someone has been decided that they want to contact you for a good reason, and then they can see that you've been really spammy in the past, it may well stop them from sending you a message. So make sure that you really, really have a strategy, and really think about what you're doing in the DMs as well. And really put yourself in that situation of, if I was at an in-person networking situation, and what would I say this to this person or not? And if not, don't send it via DM. Okay, so one of the things that you really need to be doing to have a successful LinkedIn strategy is content, but it's not the only thing, as we've already discussed. But you want to be creating and posting consistent content. You want to be showing up regularly to your audience. So there's 2 different mistakes that people tend to make here. Either they show up once in a blue moon and they get on people's radar but don't stay on it, or they overpost because they think it boosts the algorithm, but actually it has the opposite effect. So you want to be posting at least 3 times a week on LinkedIn, 3 to 5 times a week. So on other platforms at the moment, you're posting 3 to 5 times a day. That's probably music to your ears. But you may be already on LinkedIn and not have a successful strategy because you're actually overposting. So what LinkedIn does is, when you put a post out, it starts pushing out that post to your audience. Now, you've got something called the golden hour in the first hour after you put your post out, where LinkedIn is going to show that to more people to gain interest. If that post gains interest, i.e. people read it, people like it, people commenting on it, then LinkedIn will push it out to more people. However, if you post again too quickly, LinkedIn stops pushing out that first one to push out the rest. So there are some kind of training people that train on LinkedIn that tell you to post multiple times a day, which means that you will find that you get less impressions and less success. So absolutely, just really think about, if you're going to put out more than 1 post a day, leave 3 or 4 hours in between. Now, I'm an absolute bugger for doing this myself, so I can tell you it absolutely does not work, and it pees the algorithm off because I get excited and I have lots of things to say. However, every time I do it, I kick myself because I know that I should have saved that good content for the next day when LinkedIn was going to show it to most people. So best times to post on LinkedIn are when more people are active on the platform. So for most of us, that's going to be between 8 and 10 in the morning when people are logging on, having the breakfast, just getting situated, or 12 and 2 in the afternoon when they're having the lunch. For some people, that might be between 5 and 7 in the evening if your target client base are, say, working billable hours. Say your target client base are lawyers or accountants, etc., who aren't necessarily going to be on there in the day. So you might want to have some tests along when you think your content is more successful, and then you post at those points. You can also use the LinkedIn scheduler now as well. So if you are not available to post at the time that's most appropriate for your audience, you can actually schedule your content really easily now as well. You also want to make sure that you're putting your face on it. Now, you don't need to put a picture with every post. As I said, LinkedIn loves a good text post, but you do want to make sure that you're putting your face in your content on a regular basis, because you become recognizable to your audience. And people will actually stop scrolling and read your post just because they know it's you and they recognize that it's you, which is a powerful thing as well. Now, LinkedIn loves video because video allows people to see your face, hear your voice, feel as if they've met you in real life, and it builds trust quickly as well. So if you put a video on LinkedIn, you will tend to find that it does better than other types of content. And the rule of thumb with content is that you should educate people, it should build trust, it should allow your prospects to get to know the person behind the profile. So you want to be putting some personal content out there as well, and you want to be adding value. Now, you don't want to forget to sell, but you don't want to be selling all of the time either, because if your content is compelling enough, it's going to bring people back to your profile, and your profile will do the selling for you. Okay, so before you actually put a content strategy together, you really need to get clear on some things. So one of the main mistakes that people make when putting out content on LinkedIn is they put out content for the sake of putting out content, but they don't have a clear strategy behind it. So before you go posting any content, or if you're currently posting content and it's not doing as well as it should do for the work that you're putting in, I would consider these questions. What does your brand actually stand for? What is your mission in the market? What do you want to be known for? If there was a whole big conference of your prospects, your absolute ideal prospects, what would you like them to be saying about you? What questions would you like them to be asking, etc.? Those are things where you need to be thinking about. What is genuinely unique about your business compared to your market? And that might mean that you have to do some market research. How are you uniquely qualified to help them? What problems your audience has and how that's perhaps manifesting in their life, so you can bring that to life for them and shine a light on what their problems might be. And what outcomes do you provide and how do you provide them? That's really, really important that you consider all of those things before actually putting your content strategy together. Okay, so simple types of content that do well on LinkedIn. Stories. Stories are the oldest and most powerful form of marketing, and you can use lots of different stories on LinkedIn really successfully. So different types of stories that work. Stories about you and your journey, about your business, the business you work for, about successful client experiences. If you're a recruiter, successful candidate experiences. The more you can bring what you do to life in story form, the more successful you will be, and the more people will know what you do, who you do it for, and how good you are at it. You want to be adding value all the time as well. So things like tips and tricks. Think about the advice that you would normally give away for free to potential prospects in order to get them over the line, and frequently ask questions as well. So you want to be always adding value to your content. Other ones that you can do, overcoming and addressing common objections, are absolutely brilliant. So you want to throw light on a common objection in your feed, because people don't do this. It makes you stand out, but it also means that it eliminates the sales process when someone actually comes and drops into your DMs as well, because you've already done the hard work in your content. You want to be showcasing positive feedback all the time, and you want to be not coming from a place of ego, but coming from a place of emotion. You know, how did receiving that feedback make you feel? How much you love what you do, etc. So you want to be sharing those positive stories all the time, and maybe those formal testimonials, those screenshots of WhatsApps or emails that people have sent to you saying how amazing you are at what you do, because again, it helps to build your credibility. But don't do it from a place of ego. If you are a recruiter, you want to be using your content to showcase candidates. If you're not a recruiter, you want to be maybe showcasing pieces of work. If you are in marketing and branding, for instance, you could be showcasing work that you've done for other people. Really easy content is what I call a weekly roundup that plants subliminal seeds. So you can talk about what you're doing. you know, if you do it on a Monday or a Friday, you can talk on a Monday about what you did on the weekend and what your plans are for the week. If you're doing it on a Friday, you can talk about how your week's been and what you've been up to and what your plans are for the weekend. And you can ask with a question and end with a question and asking people what they've been up to or what they're going to be up to on the weekend as well. So those types of posts are telling people what you're doing, what types of clients you're working with, what types of projects you're working on, how successful you're being without actually selling. So you are planting subliminal seeds. People are really gaining that information and they're getting an idea of what you are up to, how busy you are, how good you are at what you do without having a sales post, an outward sales post. They're really, really good. Personal posts, as I said, are really important. We need to allow people to get to know the person behind the profile. So weekend plans, family life, hobbies, etc., to create that personal connection of being a real person. What I would say when it comes to personal posts is that you want to make sure that you put out stuff that you don't feel uncomfortable with. So you want to think about what that might be. You don't want to put out a post and then feel bad about putting it out. And you might want to think about the things that you have in common with your ideal audience. And maybe the things that you have in common with them are the things that you post about. Say you've both got kids, for instance, so you talk about things that you're doing outside of work, or you've got similar hobbies. So you're going to talk about that because that's going to build that personal connection, because we all like to do business with people that we like and that we feel like we have that personal connection with. Now, polls are absolutely amazing on LinkedIn. LinkedIn loves a good poll, but make it relevant. So make it a poll that is interesting to your audience, that makes them actually want to answer it. Because if you know LinkedIn polls, you know that a lot of people answer a LinkedIn poll to see what everyone else has said, because you can't see what everyone else has said unless you answer the poll yourself. So you want to make it a compelling poll. You want to make it something that people want to answer, but also you want to make it something that is relevant to what you do and information that you need so that you can then follow it up with a post-poll post talking about your poll. When you have the data for your poll and you know what people's answers are, you can also send them a message. You can thank them for answering your poll, and you can then talk about the answer that they gave in more detail as well. So you want to make sure that you have a strategy behind your polls. You're not just doing silly polls about what colour you want your toast or your tea or anything like that. So everything on LinkedIn needs to have a strategy behind it. You can put out quotes that resonate with your market and build that kind of resonance as well. Content tips. Plan ahead, have your content created in advance. There is nothing worse than kind of struggling to think of a post on the day and coming up with any old rubbish. You're better off not posting. Use the LinkedIn scheduler if you struggle to stay consistent. I prefer to native posts because you do get slightly more impressions. However, sometimes it's just not always possible. I had to schedule my post this morning, for instance. Make it a two-way conversation. Don't just put out content and expect people to comment on it. If you want interaction on your post, you need to ask for interaction. And we ask for interaction by asking people a question, for instance, or for their opinion. And the more comments you get, the more it kicks up the LinkedIn algorithm, the more people will see your post. You want to work with the LinkedIn algorithm, and we're going to talk about that in a moment, and not against it. And you want to check your analytics regularly. LinkedIn gives you data for a reason, and that's so you can see how your stuff is performing and you can make tweaks to your strategy. So if your data is telling you that your strategy is not working, then you need to change your strategy. As with all things, little tweaks can make a huge, huge difference. So use your data. It is there for a reason. Okay, so the LinkedIn algorithm, just quickly. The LinkedIn algorithm is the computer program that works behind LinkedIn and decides who and how many people to show your content posts to. So if you work with the LinkedIn algorithm, you get your stuff in front of more people. So it makes sense, doesn't it? So LinkedIn algorithm loves a good old text post, a written post. If you struggle to write a written post, you struggle to put pen to paper, that's not your forte, but you are good at speaking, I would say maybe dictate your post into a subscriber app, and that's going to make it easier for you. The LinkedIn algorithm loves comments and engagement because it shows that your post is interesting. It loves pictures of you, your team, real people. LinkedIn loves pictures of real people because people will automatically go and like something if they can see it's you. However, LinkedIn doesn't like placeholders, clip art photos, a photo that's there, basically a picture that's there for no reason. It doesn't add to the post. It actually brings your post down. LinkedIn loves a post with a high dwell time. So a high dwell time just means that someone spends more time on your post. So it might be that because they have to read the post because it's longer, because it's a text post, which means people have longer dwell time. It might be that it's a carousel. So you can use carousels on LinkedIn really effectively. So some of you who are on Instagram will be able to use carousels on LinkedIn, but you want to use it as a PDF. So rather than just posting it as pictures, in order for it to look like a proper carousel where you click through to the right, you need to actually add it as a PDF. Carousels get lots of dwell time because people click through them, so they tend to do quite well. LinkedIn loves a poll. Well, so LinkedIn will show your poll to more people. You will get more impressions with less engagement on a poll than any other post, because LinkedIn counts someone answering your poll as engagement. LinkedIn loves a hashtag. So we haven't got time to go into that today, but there is a specific hashtag way that you want to do hashtags as well. The rule of thumb is you want to use 3 and 10 relevant hashtags for your industry. LinkedIn loves time between posts in order to give it time to push out your content. As I said, that's really important. And LinkedIn loves video. What LinkedIn doesn't like, the algorithm, it doesn't like shares. If you share someone's stuff, you'll notice that it gets very few views because LinkedIn wants fresh content. That isn't to say you shouldn't share things. If you want to get in someone's good books, share their content, but it's not going to get seen by many people. LinkedIn doesn't like overposting, as we've already said. It doesn't like placeholder pictures that are there for no reason and doesn't add to your content. We haven't got time to go into it too much today, but LinkedIn prefers personal pages and personal profiles over business. So if you post on a business page, you'll notice it doesn't get many impressions compared to a personal page. So always prioritize your personal page, but people can, if they're interested enough in you, can click through to your business page anyway. So you do want a business page, but you don't want to be prioritizing that content. You want to prioritize your personal page. LinkedIn algorithm does not like links that take you away from LinkedIn, which makes sense because they want you to stay on LinkedIn. So if you have a link to share, make sure you put it in comments and just signpost in your post that that link is going to be in comments. And LinkedIn hates it when you tag people into your posts that do not respond. So only tag people into your post if you know that that person is going to respond within the golden hour. If not, that can actually bring your post down. Okay, we're coming towards the end. So I'm going to get to your questions. So summary from today, LinkedIn is absolutely a place where you should be spending your time in 2024 if you want to grow your business. You do want to have a strategy. That's really important with everything you do in business. Your profile is absolutely key. You want to be treating people online as you would offline. Your connections are real people, so don't forget that. And you want to be really consistent in building your audience, engaging with them, and in posting content that educates and adds value as well. Okay, so moving on to questions in a moment, but I just want to let you know that the next round of my LinkedIn Launchpad program, which covers everything we've talked about today and more, but in loads more detail, is starting in February. I teach you my exact strategies of how to be successful on LinkedIn. So it's for you if you're new to LinkedIn and you're just starting out and you want to do it properly from the beginning and you want to see faster results, or it's for you if you are working hard on LinkedIn at the moment, but you're not getting the results for the work that you put in. Because as I said, just little differences can pay huge dividends. So what do we cover? We cover setting your LinkedIn strategy and exactly what should be in that strategy. We cover maximizing all the tools that LinkedIn has to offer, setting up your lead generating profile, and I review every profile as well. Personal and business profiles and how to add them into your strategy, how to find the right people and magnetize your audience, how you can build your relationships in the feed, and we've got templates for that. How you can make the LinkedIn algorithm work for you, how to use LinkedIn analytics effectively to see if your message is landing, all of the different types of content, and there are hundreds that we go over that the algorithm loves and how to write them. We have weekly Q&As to answer all of your questions, and we've also got a dedicated Facebook group where you can share your work and get feedback from me as well. So it's for you if you really want to start LinkedIn properly and be successful, or you want to be more successful on LinkedIn than you are now. Because if it's not working for you right now, it's because you were doing something slightly wrong, and we can absolutely make it work for you. Okay, this is just some feedback from people that have been on those courses before. You can find all this on my profile. So you can have a look at my LinkedIn profile. For number one, it'll show you how a LinkedIn profile is set up properly in the featured section, and it's also got all my recommendations on there as well. If anyone wants the link, I can absolutely bob that in comments for you. I'll do that now. And then let's move on to some questions. Oh, yes. Bonus for anyone that signs up for the LinkedIn Launchpad today is a free 45-minute one-to-one session with me. And you can use that anytime in the 8 weeks the program runs for. So you can use that right at the beginning. You can use that In the middle, you can use it at the end, whenever you find it more appropriate. That's 45 minutes, me and you working on your LinkedIn strategy for your own business. So that's just an extra bonus for anyone that signs up today. And we only have 10 places remaining. So if you do want to get on that, starts the week after half term, then absolutely follow that link to get the details. And I will also send it out with the replay as well. Okay, questions. I know we've already got some questions in the chat, so I'm going to start with those first. But if you have any more questions, pop them in the chat for me now, and I will absolutely go through and answer them all for you. Okay. Oliver, video calls are not permitted where he is. He's had to go. Absolutely fine. Oh, thank you, Karen. Olivia, I have testimonials, but not from people on LinkedIn. It doesn't seem to let me add those. If you haven't got a section for adding testimonials at the moment, what you can do in order to make it appear is you can send a testimonial to someone else, go to their profile, click give testimonial, and then once you've given that person a testimonial recommendation, whatever you want to call it, then that section will appear on your page, and then you'll be able to send them out to other people as well. Okay, Claire, you've got some great new stuff. Amazing. I think since I last trained you, Claire, there's so many different things on LinkedIn. It's always improving, which is awesome. Jacqueline, things have changed a lot since the last masterclass. Yeah, absolutely. Always moving. Zachary, would a hot job graphic be classed as a clip art type placeholder pic? Yes and no. It depends. Probably, in all honesty, you are better having a picture of you made on Canva with a little sign saying hot job, and that will do the trick, or a picture of maybe your team written over it. Just be kind of really strategic about real people rather than, you know, anything too clip arty, because people just scroll past. Yeah, I'm going to send a replay out. Baz has got a lot to think about. Karen, how do you get LinkedIn Live or audio? Yeah, so there's two different types of account. You have a LinkedIn standard account, and you have a LinkedIn content creator account. Now, I will contradict myself here, because the LinkedIn standard account is the one that you really, really want, because it allows you to build connections. So if someone goes to your profile, they can connect with you and send you a connection request. If you are in content creator mode, which you'll have an option on your main profile to do, people will be encouraged to follow you rather than connect with you. However, there is one exception, and that is because you want LinkedIn Live or LinkedIn Audio. So I would put your profile in content creator mode just for a short period of time. I would click the buttons to apply for LinkedIn Live and Audio. And then as soon as you have it, they don't take it away from you. So then go back into standard mode after that. Really easy to do. It's literally on your profile. It's one of those little buttons that you just move to the right, and then to turn it on, and you move to the left to turn it off. Karen, LinkedIn Premium, what are the main benefits or reasons to pay for it? How do I know I need it for what I'm doing? You can get a 4-week trial if you haven't had LinkedIn Premium in the last 6 months. So I would recommend, if you are not sure if you need it or you are going to use it, get a 4-week trial. The one that I would recommend that you get a trial in is Sales Navigator, because there are so many reasons why. I can't go into them all today. We go into that in the LinkedIn Launchpad as well. But it will really help you to build that very specific audience very, very quickly. And it will help you to get in front of people who are active on LinkedIn. It will help you in lots of different ways. And so I would absolutely get a free trial in that. But the main reason why I would get LinkedIn Premium, even the LinkedIn Business, which is the cheaper one, the standard one, is because you can see people who viewed your profile. There's nothing more frustrating than LinkedIn saying 50 people have viewed your profile today. You can't see them. If you know who's viewed your profile, you know they've been interested enough to go and view your profile, then you can follow them up. You can send a message, you can say, thanks for viewing my profile, and you can have a conversation. I can't tell you how many times I've sent someone a message saying, thanks for viewing my profile, and that's given them the little nudge to tell me why they viewed my profile, and then that's resulted in business. So for me, it is worth its weight in gold just to be able to see who's viewed your profile. So for no other reason than that, I would get LinkedIn Business if you can afford it. You do not need LinkedIn Premium to have a successful strategy on LinkedIn, but it does give you a little bit of a leg up. So that is why I would have it personally. But if you are going to do a 4-week free trial, I would choose Sales Nav. just because, as I said, LinkedIn's really intuitive. You can use it to help you build super specific audience, and then LinkedIn's going to then know who you want to be shown as recommended connections. And then if you don't want to pay for sales now at the end of those 4 weeks, but you have got a little bit of a budget, I think it's about 30 quid, I would move down to LinkedIn Business just to be able to see who's viewed your profile, because it's hugely important. Zachary, where do you turn on or access the featured part to put our top posts on? You actually do it in your content, Zachary. So when you put a post out, there is 3 little dots in the right-hand corner. If you click on those 3 dots, you click add to featured, then it automatically will appear on your profile. Once you've got one piece of featured content on there, there is actually a new button, which has got a little cross, and you can actually add content from your profile as well. So that's quite a new thing. So once you have one piece of content, that will become available to you. Kathy, how do I find the articles to add my 2 contributions for the top voice badge? There's 2 ways. The first one is that you will be invited. If you're putting out regular content and LinkedIn thinks that you have something to say, they will invite you to the top community voice program. That's what happened to me. And so it started showing me articles. It made it easy. However, I have clients that I have since helped get a community top voice badge, and they have gone and found the article, comment on them, and they have made themselves eligible, if that makes sense. There are ways and means of doing it. By all means, it is a strategy, and it is, it's a process. So not something we can go into today. But even if you are not invited, you can make yourself eligible by actually going and finding these things and commenting on them as well. Karen, there are 2 paid options. Didn't realize there was more than one. There's actually 4 paid options. So you've got LinkedIn Business, you've got LinkedIn Sales Nav, you've got LinkedIn Recruiter Lite, and you've got LinkedIn Recruiter. So 2 of those first 2 really are for anyone wanting to build their business on LinkedIn, and the last 2 really are more for recruiters. But for most people, it's going to be LinkedIn Business or Sales Nav. For a recruiter, it's probably going to be, they're more focused on building relationships with candidates. It's probably going to be Recruiter Lite or LinkedIn Recruiter, which is much more expensive. Kathy, you've been invited, but you cannot find the articles. They should be coming up in your feed if you have actually taken up that invitation. But if not, you can kind of search for them. But by all means, as I said, it's a little bit of a process. So I haven't got time to talk about that today, but it's absolutely possible. Zachary, very helpful. My absolute pleasure. Does anyone have any final questions before we finish for today? What we would end with really is that you are not going to suddenly pitch up on LinkedIn and get loads of business. That's life. You have to put a certain amount of work in, but if you put the work in, absolutely possible. I have a client that I started working with in January last year, and he sent me a message yesterday to say that he has had 426,000 impressions on his content in 1 year from a standing start. And it has literally helped him to grow his business. So he has earned £150,000 plus in 1 year just from LinkedIn. So if it's possible for him, it's absolutely possible for you too. Whatever business you are in, as long as your audience is on there. If you are not sure if your people are on there, just bob me a message and I will be absolutely happy to let you know. If you do want to join the LinkedIn Launchpad, I would absolutely love to have you on there, and we can do this together. I've bobbed the link in the comments, so go and have a look. And there are also some VIP options on there as well. So VIP means that you get a full one-to-one sessions with me, and I actually write your headline and about us section for you. So you get a done for you profile as well, which is worth its weight in gold. So if you do want to kind of jump in and work more closely with me, that is absolutely available for 5 people as well. But any questions, just bob me an email. I will pop the recording out for this. Sorry, we've gone a bit long. As I said, I could talk for hours, but I've tried to rein myself in. I'll bob the recording out this afternoon. I'll bob the link out as well. But any questions, just let me know. And thank you extremely much for spending your lunchtime with me. And I shall hopefully see you all very soon.